Welcome to the Egg Whisperer Show, a program exclusively designed to promote reproductive health awareness and discuss fertility preservation options. Here is your host, the Harvard-educated fertility specialist, Dr. Amy.
She's known as the Egg Whisperer.
Fertility expert Dr. Amy Abazadeh.
And you have yet another success story
Just launched by an East Bay fertility doctor.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the Egg Whisperer Show. I am super excited to have Sarah Kowalski here. She's author of Motherhood, Reimagined, and that's the title of tonight's show, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about. But some of you are probably wondering, like, what is that? Does that mean a robot's going to have a baby? What's Motherhood Reimagined? Sarah, what is it?
Motherhood Reimagined is all the ways that I ended up having to reimagine motherhood in order to become a mother.
And how did you become a mother?
I became a mother via sperm donor and egg donor.
Wow, that's pretty brave for you to say that so publicly and openly. Is that hard for you to do?
It is, but I guess I feel so strongly about my path and how incredibly rewarding it has been and how hard I struggled to make the choices, and I just feel like I want to rejoice to everyone about how amazing being a mother is and how great and rewarding being a single mother is, and how using an egg donor is such a nothing part of our equation now that he's born.
Right. And you've had quite the path. I mean, we were talking a little bit ago about how you were a corporate attorney and life coach, and now you've basically changed your life completely because motherhood's so transformed. I mean, you can tell me. What tell me about the path.
So yes, I was a corporate attorney. I went to law school because I wanted to do women's reproductive rights and health law, and ended up in sort of a horrible corporate job, for lack of a better word, and ended up with a repetitive strain injury, quitting, and sort of rebuilding myself. And then along that path, sort of towards the end of it, when I really felt like I was strong and healthy and ready to make the next choice, I started thinking about, do I want to be a mom? And I was already in my late 30s and realized there was no partner and there might not be a partner coming. Right. So I had to make the hard choice, what felt like a really devastating and hard choice at the time, to become a single mom by choice.
And what resources did you take advantage of to help you with that decision at the time?
You know, I didn't realize that there was a lot of resources out there, and I really sort of struggled alone with the choice. I have an amazing mentor and teacher who's my Qigong master and sort of Feldenkrais practitioner.
I don't know what that is. What is that? Qigong. That sounds like...
Qigong is... It's like sort of related to Tai Chi.
Okay, I was going to start pulling out Tai Chi moves. So it sounds similar.
Yeah, so it's related to Tai Chi. It's a Buddhist Taoist practice. It's it starts as a health and healing practice and becomes more of a mental meditation practice. So it sort of runs the gamut, if you will.
And then what was their advice to you?
My mentor just was like, you haven't been asking yourself this question, and I think you need to ask whether or not you want to be a mom. And I think I'd been operating under, my mom had children pretty late, and I had heard that maybe there was fertility issues after 35, but I was somehow able to brush them under the rug and think that they didn't exist and that it was easy to get pregnant in your 40s. So I had not been asking the question because I was focused on finding a partner.
Right. And then how did you go from your own eggs to then donor eggs, and how was that for you as far as accepting that?
It was a hard process, and I had to really, my mentor said to me, you need to do what you need to do to get closure on using your own eggs and feel like you did your best so that you can put it down and move forward without regret.
And then be specific, what was it that you did to make you feel like you did everything you could with your own eggs?
Well, so my FSH was ridiculously high from the get-go. It was 23.5 or something like that. Yeah. So I had been told from the get-go that I needed to use donor eggs, and it was just nope, not going there. I'm not going to have a kid if I have to use donor eggs. And so I did every alternative practice known to man. I gave up every type of gluten, sugar, wheat, dairy, alcohol, coffee, you name it.
Right.
I did it all.
I've heard it all. Yeah.
I saw spiritual healers. I saw, I did it all. And I did about 5 or 6 IUIs, and with actually at home with like a home midwife.
Okay.
And timing my cycle and learning everything I possibly could. And then I finally went to a reproductive endocrinologist and did some tests and got even worse news.
Oh.
And my AMH was like undetectable. I had 1 resting follicle on each ovary. And she basically said, you know, look, you're looking at egg donor. So I tried 1 more cycle with Clomid and nothing happened. I got cysts instead of any, you know, it just didn't go anywhere. And then actually what really shifted it for me is that my lining wasn't thickening. And so the doctor said to me, you know, there might actually be something wrong with your lining that would prevent pregnancy at all.
Right.
And then when we sort of did the mock cycle and realized that there wasn't anything wrong with my lining.
Yeah, it was just the darn Clomid. Crazy Clomid is what I call it.
Yeah. Then it was like, I think once it had been pulled, like possibly taken away completely, the option of getting pregnant, then when she sort of put it back on the table and said, oh, actually your lining is fine, I was like, okay, I'll do whatever. Like, I just want to be a mom. But it was a process.
So you basically, over time, developed real clarity about your decision, because I hear this all the time from patients, you know, the first time I meet them, and I just have a rule. I never talk about egg donation or using an egg donor the first time I meet a patient, because I want them to know that I don't think of them as a number. I don't think of them as an FSH, or I believe in everyone's fertility the minute they walk through the door. But, you know, obviously I can't help everyone the way they originally envisioned. And there is something important about feeling like you've done everything possible with your own eggs. And for some people, it's as simple. For some people, it is just checking your levels. But for most people, they still want a chance, you know, and certainly everything that you did, you never know. I mean, it could have worked, but in the end, these donated eggs are your eggs. I mean, your name is on them.
It's true.
So I hate the word alone. You know, we talk about having a baby alone, being single. I mean, when people say those words to you, I mean, do you feel those feelings like, I'm doing this alone, I'm a single person, you know, and I think of someone who's isolated and lonely and out there in the world being a parent. Can you tell me like how that makes you feel when people say that?
I mean, I think I feel both. I feel both alone and incredibly supported.
Okay.
So I would say, but I don't see the alone as negative. I think there's actually an amazing simplicity to it. I don't have someone that I'm hoping is going to do things and I'm getting disappointed that they're not helping as much, and I don't waste any mental energy on who's going to do X, Y, Z. It just, I know it's going to fall to me. And that's both empowering and can be exhausting at times. But for me, I think it's mainly empowering. And then you're right. I mean, our community is amazing, and we just, you know, I think that there's almost this like unspoken club of mothers that come together to support each other. And so I think if you're willing to look for that, you can definitely find it.
And were you scared once you made that decision? You know, even before you went the egg donor route, like when you were doing the IUI route, were you scared at all about, I'm going to be a mom and I'm not going to be partnered? Or was that not even like on your radar?
You know, honestly, I think I was worried most about, like, would I ever date again if I did it alone? That was like, oh my God, who wants to date someone who already has a kid? Like, that sounds crazy. And once I kind of got over, like, I realized, like, I could meet the guy of my dreams tomorrow, we could get pregnant, and he could leave me. Or, you know, who knows, that there really are no guarantees in life. Then I realized that I just had to move forward to be a mom. And then I would say I'm pretty independent and like tenacious and a go-getter, so I wasn't very scared. It felt, I was like, okay, I'm doing, once I made the choice. It took a long time to make the choice, but once I made the choice, I was not super worried.
And then what about acceptance from family and friends? Like, what did your mom think? Or if you have siblings, what did your siblings think?
My sister was like, oh, of course you are. Like, you've always wanted to be a mom. Like, I've been waiting for you to tell me this. And I was really blown away. I thought that they would, and my parents pretty much had the same reaction of like, oh, wow, like, of course. And I think I'm the only, my sister did not have kids, and it's just she and I. So I think my parents were relieved that they were going to get a grandchild.
I love it.
Yeah.
And so once you made the decision, I'm going to do this, what were the steps after you realized you're going to use an egg donor? Like, how did you pick your egg donor?
The egg donor was, well, I had already picked 2 sperm donors because I had picked a sperm donor while I was doing the IUIs. And that sort of first choice of picking a donor felt really hard. And then the next time I had to pick a sperm donor, it was just that much easier. It was less foreign. Somehow, like, I put so much, like, such an incredible amount of importance on it. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should start over my sentence.
Oh, go for it.
I put so much importance on choosing the sperm donor and feeling like it was the most important decision I had ever made in my entire life.
Yeah.
And then when I got around to the egg donor, it was like I'd already done it twice. And it was a lot easier, I think. I just was like, I looked at sort of the triad between me and the sperm donor and the egg donor and just sort of found what felt right to me.
And then you did that with your reproductive endocrinologist, with your girlfriends, with your sister? How did you make
I
those
actually
decisions?
used my mentor, my Qigong master,
Okay.
to sort of help. Well, that's not true. I ranked. I put like my first a first pass with a bunch of people, and then I ended up ranking them, and then I sent, I think, like the top 5 to a huge number of friends and asked them, like, who did they think
So
was...
it's like a Facebook survey.
It was, yeah. And then everyone came back with the same first choice.
Oh, that's great.
And so that really helped. And then I sort of checked in with I guess everyone came back with the first top 2 choices, but pretty much what people were consistent on the first.
Cool. So for those of us who are joining us halfway into the show, so I have Sarah Kowalski here, and she's author of this excellent book called Motherhood, Reimagined, and we're basically talking about how to be a mom in a really great way, and I'm really excited that Sarah's here talking to us. So is there any advice you'd give to single moms who are contemplating this? And I want you to talk a little bit about the programs that you offer as well.
Sure. Well, I think not to think of it as a plan B. I think we all come to it as like, oh, this has to be, like, nothing else worked out, so this is what I'm left with. And I feel like I want to, like, I think it's an amazing model of how to have a kid. And not to say that I don't want to date again and be in a partnership, but I just think it's awesome, and there's so many great things about it. So don't necessarily think of it as like this consolation prize. But also, I think talk to people. Like, I didn't talk to people, and it took me so long to decide, and I was whittling away precious fertility time. So I would also say, go get checked by someone like Dr. Amy and find out what your fertility is earlier on, and don't sort of leave it to the last minute. And yet, if you do, it's okay, because I think the path that I took is also amazing, and I have no regrets. So,
And then how did you plan your birth? So what kind of tips do you have about that?
Sure. I think, well, I had this massive team lined up and a very intricate birth plan, and I had so many ideas about how it was going to go. And I ended up having a very long induction and felt like I couldn't really call, like, at a certain point I realized I couldn't call it, like, ask my friends to be there the whole time. So I ended up hiring a labor doula. And I think that would be one of my biggest advices to single mom, is have a labor doula, because you just want someone who's required to be there and has to be there to support you, because you don't know what's going to happen. You need someone who's going to manage the personalities in the room and all sorts of things like that.
I think people should have fertility doulas too. I mean, if you don't have a fertility friend or a fertility pal, there should be some sort of fertility doula system. So if, for women who don't necessarily have the same support or a group of friends like you had going through this.
Well, did you know that I call myself a fertility doula?
Seriously? Okay, here we go. Sarah Kowalski, author of Motherhood Reimagined and your fertility doula. Because people can find you on Facebook, they can subscribe to your website. There's a membership that you also offer as well.
Yes, yeah. So the membership site's coming.
Okay.
So it will be like a full service set of for women anywhere along the path, the journey, and I'm going to have guest experts, hopefully like Dr. Amy, to answer questions and do Q&As and stuff. I also currently do a Thinkers Triers course, so it's a group of women who are getting together, developing community. We meet weekly and talk about it. I think everyone learns from where everyone else is at in the process, and then we also kind of go through what are the main like main top concerns of single moms. So the financial, will I date? What will people think? How will I tell my parents? We go through all of those kind of questions.
Yeah, I mean, those are really important things to think about even before you start the process, so that you're prepared for the things people say, so you feel really strong, right?
Yeah.
'Cause that stuff can get
Absolutely.
you down and affect your self-esteem and might make you have self-doubt and affect, how you think about the process.
I agree.
So are you going to come out with a book that says Fatherhood Reimagined? What do you think about that?
I love it. I think
Yeah.
it should be, but no.
Not right now.
I'm hoping to, well, only because I don't have the experience.
Right.
But I am also going to start a podcast by the same name of Motherhood Reimagined, and I
Okay.
hope to interview, like, celebrate all paths to
Right.
motherhood and or parenthood.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I love that you came to be on my show tonight. Thank you so
Likewise.
much.
Yeah. It's been great being here.
I really just want to have everyone read this book. For anyone who's considering being, I hate the word single mom by choice. I think about it as like you're a mother by destiny. And
I think that's great.
none
And
of us
anyone
are
who
alone.
is, I think anyone who is forced to look at a path that's different than what they thought.
That makes sense.
Because
So
it
even
covers
if
the egg donation
right.
and the single motherhood
I think your
part.
perspective on egg donation is, I mean, the fact that you're here publicly talking about it in and of itself is unique, and it is something to be celebrated.
Thank you.
So thank you, Sarah, for coming on. Join her Facebook group. We look forward to listening to your podcast, and just keep watching the Egg Whisperer show. And we are excited to have wonderful guests like Sarah come on this show. So look for more shows in the near future. We'll see you
Awesome.
guys soon.
Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome to the Egg Whisperer Show, a program exclusively designed to promote reproductive health awareness and discuss fertility preservation options. Here is your host, the Harvard-educated fertility specialist, Dr. Amy.
She's known as the Egg Whisperer.
Fertility expert Dr. Amy Abazadeh.
And you have yet another success story.
Just launched by an East Bay fertility doctor.
Welcome to the Egg Whisperer Show, a program exclusively designed